And I was going to start with introductions, but doing it a little bit. Oh, hi, Susan. Thanks for joining us. She found it. I was going to start with introductions, but do a little bit different introductions today in saying that we usually do introductions, just our name and our state. But I was going to do a little bit more in-depth introductions today to give people a little bit more time to give a little bit longer elevator pitch of what's been going on in their region or in their state, in their world, in the sphere that they work in, whether it's the organization they work with, whether it's the individuals they work with, or whether it's with their own family members. And then I have just a quick genetics pop-up update for everybody. And then next month, I just want to let you guys know about a guest speaker. So I'll talk about that at the end. So I will start off. I am Christy Weiss. I am the Consumer Engagement Director for Mountain States, and I also do the social media coordination. I have my background in chemistry, but I came to this Mountain States world about 8 or 9 years ago as a mom to a child whose doctor suspected of having a mitochondrial disorder. And the other hat that I wear is I have my own patient advocacy business where I'm located, which is Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So what's going on in my world of Mountain States is that we have, most of you know, we submitted the grant application for a continuation for 4 years in January, and we're waiting to hear about that. So that is behind us, and what is in front of us and what we are knee deep in right now is genetic pop-ups, because Rare Disease Day is just a couple days away. So that is what we are working on right now. I'm also working on another Facebook Live, so stay tuned for that. That'll be coming out here in a week or two. And then we are doing a lot of work with our state teams, wrapping up their projects and activities, and hopefully not having to wrap them up, but to get ready to continue on if we have a continued grant funding on in June. So with my other hat in my other world, I'm preparing for Autism Awareness Month, which is April, and have been asked to speak at a couple of local Pittsburgh events on autism, and will be weaving my genetics hat into that as well. So that's what I've been up to, but I'm going to pass the torch on to who would like to go next. So we can go in order of who joined the call. I don't know, Adrian, are you available to introduce yourself? Okay,
sure.
Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Adrian. I live in Colorado, and I'm one of the ambassadors for Mountain States. My son has a rare genetic disorder called Dup15q syndrome. And so I'm pretty heavily involved in that community. I'm the state representative for the Dup15q Alliance. We're planning a big walk in September here in Denver, and we're also doing an international conference, which happens every 2 years here in Denver. So I'm pretty engrossed in that as well.
Oh, that's exciting. What is the date of that? Do you mind if I interrupt?
The walk is September 30th.
September 30th. And then is the conference yet
Date has not been nailed down. It will be July of 2021.
Conference 2021, but it will be in Denver?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh, great. That's great to know. Okay. I'm just going to add it to our calendar if you don't mind. We are keeping the genetic ambassador calendar. So I'll add those two things to it.
Not
Perfect. And you've been busy with some other stuff. What do you want to share what you did this weekend?
This weekend, my husband and I and our son was interviewed by Chris Ulmer. And I don't know if you're familiar with Chris Ulmer, but he is a viral blogger that is founded the Special Books by Special Kids. And if you haven't checked him out, check him out on YouTube. He is absolutely amazing, an amazing advocate. And like I said, he's viral. Some of his videos get like 12 million views. So
that is awesome. So I saw that you were being interviewed, but I didn't see a link yet. Is it been published, or does he now edit it what he videoed?
Yes, he's editing now. So I took some time up in the mountains, and he's going to edit the videos. So
okay, so be sure to send us a link when it goes viral.
I hope. Well, we'll see.
Well, when it gets published, let us know. We'd be happy to share it.
All right, sounds good. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is that I am in the middle of a 4-month course called Allies in Leadership, Policymaking and Systems Change Leadership Development Project, or ALPS for short. but it's basically run here in Colorado to advocate for policy change system-wide. So it's a really incredible program that I'm taking part in, and part of the graduation requirement is you have to be part of a project. And so that's I was kind of excited to see the agenda for today to maybe get some ideas as far as what my final project will be.
Oh, wonderful. That's super exciting. Great. Thanks for sharing. Anything else you want to update the group on?
No, I think that's it.
All right. Great. Thanks for being on the call today, Adrian. All right, Kyle, I think joined next. I have him written down. Kyle, are you available to introduce yourself?
Yes.
And tell us what's been going on in your neck of the woods in New Mexico.
Yeah. So I operate in the Four Corners community, specifically from Shiprock, but we have been targeting rural communities like Newcomb, Two Great Hills, and just recently we had a family circle at the high school called Career Prep, and so we were able to communicate and establish ourselves with young adults, or young parents actually. And so through our family circles, we have a cultural approach.
Great. And do you want to tell everyone which organization you work with too?
Yes, and so we have a partnership between Indian Country Grassroots and Did Introspective, which I co-manage, and we partnered to present Navajo Family Voices. And so through Navajo Family Voices, I'm the director for the family circles.
Wonderful. And would you give everybody a little bit of context, myself included, what a family circle means?
And so a family circle is building the support as to family support. And so given that we are operating through a cultural approach, we also remind individuals to introduce themselves through their clans. And so we're able to build upon the clanship through a network system. And so with the family circles, they're able to build a network and support each other through their experiences, their stories, and even resources as well.
Awesome. Thank you for expanding on that a little bit. I just wanted to make sure everybody kind of had the context. I know what it is from Josie telling me, but I wanted to make sure everybody had the context. So you have your own organization, or you co-direct your own organization, and you're in partnership with the organization that Josie runs, the Navajo Family Grassroots.
Yeah.
And together you guys do the Family to Family Health Information Center grant for the tribal nations grant for Navajo.
Correct.
Okay, gotcha. Great. Well, thank you for being here today. Is there anything else you would like to share about? I would love if you maybe would expand on, because we were talking about it at the beginning of the call. There was a document that you all made to hand out at this last family circle that you did. Would you like to share a little bit about that? Josie just emailed me and let me know it's already up on your website, so we could actually direct people there if they'd like to take a look at it.
Yes, the document is available electronically, and so what we presented was not only a doctor's checklist, but we also presented a information.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it was kind of along the lines of what I would call developmental milestones, right? Things that maybe should happen or are good for kids between certain ages. That's the one I was referring to.
Okay. Yeah. So
you know what I'm talking about? Go ahead.
Yeah, we presented the milestones for infants all the way to ages 6, and so part of the milestones was behaviors growth development as far as their motor skills, their vision, their verbal skills, and then even the vaccination checkup is a part of the milestones as well.
Great. I'll try to post a link to that in our Genetic Ambassadors Facebook group so everyone can take a look at that. But I thought it was really, really well done. And I loved how it had it wasn't really only a checklist, it had a cultural aspect to it, reminding I guess, these young adults, young parents, that there's a cultural perspective to development as well. So thank you for sharing.
Yeah, correct.
Great. Anything else?
That is about it for now, but we will be, the students requested for us to return, and they requested also that the information they wanted to hear was about co-parenting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. That's great that it's always a good sign when you get an invitation back, right? That's
yes,
great. Good.
Exactly.
Good. Well, thanks for being on the call and updating us. We appreciate it. Thanks for being here today. All right. So I have Gina as next on the list. Gina, are you still there?
I sure am.
Tell us,
I'm Gina.
Tell us what's new in Utah.
Well, I think lots the same and a lot changes daily here.
You got a pop-up coming up. That's one big thing.
yeah. So we are going to do a pop-up with a few invited guests this Friday night. We were going to try to do it on Saturday, and because of all the other conflicting pieces of activities that others were involved in, we decided to do it the night before, which is great because it looks like the majority of the invitees can come. So I'm hoping and praying for a great turnout to share information, as well as educate some of the families that have been invited, as well as some of the genetic counselors from our University of Utah, to be able to provide, I think, additional resources that they may or may not know of from Mountain States, as well as from even our Utah Family to Family Health Information Center and our Utah Parent Center, which is our Parent Training and Information Center. So I'm excited about it because I think the more we can share, the wealth of knowledge, the more it spreads, because it really is individual families in their communities that are where that great sharing of knowledge happens. So I'm hoping for a great turnout, and
I was just going to mention too. I know you have invited guests, and you've kind of picked the people who you've reached out to invite. But because of some of these pop-ups being out there and floating out, and people being directed back to Mountain States, I was able to. Somebody reached out to us about the Utah pop-up, and I was able to connect them to you. So I'm super excited about that, the information going that way too. So people hearing about it and saying, hey, I want to attend, and I heard there's one in my area. So that's exciting.
Yes, and I actually reached back out to the mom, have not heard anything back. So I'm gonna send out another email as well, just to say I would love to even send information.
Right.
If I know you gave her information to join these calls as well. So hopefully,
that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about, is letting people know they're not alone, and letting people know there's stuff right there in their community that they can connect with. So
yeah.
Perfect.
So yeah, great. Thank you.
All right. And anything else? Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, so I'm involved with, currently I direct our Family to Family Health Information Center, and also am the Associate Director for our Parent Training and Information Center, and am family faculty for the Utah Regional Leadership Education and Neurodevelopmental Disabilities, which has also been a part of Mountain States. And that is our particular model serves Utah as well as 4 states that currently do not have a medical school, and it has interdisciplinary members or trainees that come from everything from OTPT to pediatrics to genetics, and also family and self-advocate trainees. So it's a place that I'm hoping to really expand more to get connections for families in different ways versus kind of we have a huge outreach to families through our listserv, like 17,000 plus across the state. But my fear is also always that it's great we can get information out to those families, but the families that I really want to get to are the ones that have not been connected in one way or another, whether it's because they have a genetics diagnosis or an unknown or rare, and then of course all other special health care needs. So I'm excited to kind of connect all of these pieces together as I move forward, and I was excited about, and I was just trying to look for it, but I might have to send it out. We actually, I know it may not be close, but we have a workshop coming up on, I believe, some of the rights, roles, and responsibilities and special education and such down in the Four Corners area. I want to say it's Anthem, but I want to get the information correct so that the family to family that's working with Josie and such, maybe if you have any families in that area, then I can give you the information to invite some of those families that may want some of that information.
Perfect. And I was going to say the thing that you were talking about that you are the family faculty for is better known as LEND, right? Their acronym LEND. So some people might recognize it from that. And could you tell us which states that covers, so that if anybody on the call knows a family in whether it be Utah or the other states, they could connect them with you?
Absolutely, because I'm also always searching for families that may want to be involved as a family mentor or possibly a family trainee. So it is Utah, Idaho. I've got to think about it as I go around. North Dakota, Montana, and Wyoming.
Okay, got it. Montana, Wyoming, North Dakota, Utah, and Idaho, and then Gina's in Utah. You're located in Utah.
Yeah, and I am the family engagement involvement for all the states, and then we have state coordinators that also help. So if any family in any of those states wants to know more about it and such, they can definitely reach out to me, and we can get connected. So, and when I said UR Land, sorry, I should have specified it's land, but we have the UR in front of ours because it's the Utah Regional.
Utah Regional Land, gotcha. Perfect. Well, thanks for the update. Anything else?
I think that's it.
Okay, yes. When you get that special education conference stuff, you can send it to me and I can shoot it out.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, perfect. Okay, next I have Hannah. Hannah, are you available to introduce yourself?
Yes, I am. Hi, guys.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, so my name is Hannah. I'm actually, I live in Nevada right now, but I'm kind of new to the state. My background, I used to live in Alaska, and I used to be the pediatric genetics clinic coordinator up there in Alaska. A little bit of a sad note, Alaska no longer has that clinic currently running. I believe the Alaska Native Tribal Health Consortium and the South Central Foundation, they are working on getting that clinic back up and running. So hopefully sometime soon. I haven't heard anything new as of this year. Maybe they did get it up and running, but I'm hoping that they do, because as of right now, all the families that do need genetic counseling or just a consult, they have to fly down to Seattle or to Oregon. And those wait lists are already long enough as it is. Anyway, my recent hat that I just got is as a co-lead for Nevada for Mountain States Regional Network.
We're super excited about that.
Thanks. And I'm very excited that I'm able to fill the role, and hopefully I'll live up to the hype. And we did just have a rare disease day here in Las Vegas. I think it was Friday. I'm trying to remember what it was.
Yeah, I think that was right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Friday.
and by the time I found out about it, Christy, I had other things that I had to do, and I'm like, oh, bummer.
It's okay. I found out about it late too. So yeah, it's one of those things. As we know where to look for these things next year, we'll be more on top of it.
Right. So I don't know how it went. I haven't heard anything. I went back to the Facebook post and nothing really got posted. So
yeah,
hopefully it went well, and people were there, and
then you guys have a rare disease event coming up in Las Vegas this weekend, right?
Yes. And I don't see anyone that I know on the call that's from here. So I'm gonna, give a shout out. So it's by the Little Miss Hannah Foundation, and it's the Vegas, let me make sure I say this right. I think it's Vegas Rare 5K is what it's called. And so basically it's going to be this weekend, this Saturday from 7:30 a.m. till 11 a.m. And it's a run for, all the families are going to be there that are from Las Vegas, advocating for each of their kiddos. It's actually awesome. I've seen the videos and I've seen the pictures. I wish I can run. I can't anymore. But there is actually, if you go to the Little Miss Hannah Foundation, I can't remember how the website goes, but you can support them by being a virtual runner, and I did that. So I was like, yay, I can still get,
nice.
Yeah, I can sort of run with everybody.
Yeah. And then you guys have a pop-up coming up too, but not for, what is it, 2 weeks? Yeah.
Yes, for about 2 weeks. So that one is for March 13th, Friday the 13th.
It's gonna be your lucky day, I promise.
Yes, and it's gonna be. I'm doing it with Amy Holly. It's gonna be at her house. We decided to do it kind of just a small gathering of, whoever wants to come from the run, because I'll be there to kind of, advocating for that, and whoever wants to come from my side of town, because I live up north of Las Vegas, and we're gonna be talking about genetics and just sharing resources, and I'm gonna kind of offshoot from Gina. I was interested in the LEND that you were talking about, because up in Alaska, we have a huge support from families and family members that have kiddos with genetic conditions, or family members that know of a family member that has genetic conditions. And what we have up there in Alaska is called a Stone Soup group. And I know we have something here in Nevada. I'm not quite familiar with everything yet. And I'm so glad that LEND is happening everywhere else, because the families that go to that program, I mean, I've worked with families as the clinic coordinator, and they literally break down and cry and just thank everyone that helped with that, because I think the biggest struggle that anybody has is just having that support system. And so I'm so glad that that's happening everywhere. But yeah, that's it for me, I guess.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. Go ahead, Gina.
Sorry. And so it's called Family Ties in Nevada.
Right.
So it's Mary, Hannah, who you're co-lead with now.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. just to draw another connection there.
Yeah.
Mary Meeker.
Awesome.
Yeah. Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much for jumping in and offering your genetic Alaska skills to Nevada now that you're there, and helping Amy with the pop-up and going this weekend. I think it's going to be it sounds like a great event for the Little Miss Hannah Foundation, which is run by Carrie Ostray, who was formerly one of our co-leads for Nevada team. So we appreciate her contributions as well. So. All right, well, moving on to Susan. Susan, are you available to introduce yourself? Oh, we can't hear you. Are you muted?
Unmute. There we go.
There you go, you got it.
Hi.
Hey there.
I have been very busy on the
Tell us who you are and where you're from.
well,
so everybody knows.
I'm sorry.
That's
I'm
okay.
Susan Owens, and I am from the Dallas area, actually Garland, Texas. And I've had a pop-up last year, and that went really great. And I've been involved with I think about 4 years, maybe.
I think that sounds about right.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
With Mountain States.
Yeah, because I think you came to the first meeting when we were in Salt Lake City, Utah, and then we've had our 3 years of this grant cycle. So that's about 4 years. Yeah, you're about right.
Yeah. So anyway, I came in originally because Christy thought my family sounded kind of interesting because we had 3 different generations of issues that were kind of related, but kind of not related. And, but we had a lot of struggles within the healthcare system and getting appropriate care and getting risky treatment that ended up being really bad for us. And so I have a passion about people who are undiagnosed and, really have a very difficult time negotiating within the healthcare system. And so I have talked at least, I can't even remember how often, about that we've been making progress. And so one of my big progress areas was that we found out that I am homozygous for something called myoadenylate deaminase deficiency. And it is, in the literature, a muscle disorder that's supposed to cause muscle pain and fatigue when you exercise, except it didn't happen to me until I was 60 years old. And so that's a big puzzle, is that I did the mathematics on it, and it should affect 27 million Americans, about the same number as have cancer. But yet in the literature, it's like the phenotype that was in the literature is not really what people have. So I started an internet group, a Facebook group for that condition, and was just shocked at what they had, because you couldn't get in unless you had the defect. And so there was a high incidence of fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, and oddly enough, EDS, which we have several ambassadors that are dealing with EDS. And so that was kind of interesting. And then I found out a couple of months ago that we also have another defect that, like myoadenylate deaminase, is found mostly in people of European descent. But the incidence among people that I found of having the 2 of those together was about 110 times normal. So there's something magical about the connection, and I've been able to find information from scientists that are studying in this area, and it's totally making sense to them that that the 2 would interact and would create, more problems, basically. And so I'm in this kind of no man's land of having 2 genetic disorders that together are a problem, instead of just a single monogenic disorder. And believe me, that is not where anybody wants you to be. and so,
because it's not inside the box, right?
It's not inside the box.
It's not inside a well-defined box. out there in the wilderness making a box.
I'm trying to make a box for those of us that have, like multiple genetic defects that are interacting. And so one of the things that happened, about a year ago, is that somebody at the NIH noticed that I was on their website more than most people. And so they wanted to talk to me. And when all this came up recently, I thought, well, I need to talk back to them and tell them that one of the things our people were really upset was with both disorders. They used to be called pathogenic, and they took them out of that category and put them back into the we don't know what it does.
Variant of unknown significance.
Yes. And of course, once you do that, then people are not going to research it. That just kind of takes it out of the loop. And, we're exactly the opposite. We're now finding out that we have all this stuff in common, and we want research to happen. And so I have a conversation coming up, I hope, with some people at the NIH just to say, how did that happen? And can we keep it from happening for other people? Because, we can't think that what we know now is all there is to know. There's room for growth here. And if we start saying that things don't need to be studied, then that's a real problem. So that's kind of where I am.
That's where you're at. Oh my goodness. And so you maybe give everybody just a 1 sentence or 2 sentence overview of how you got into this world. I know you mentioned your family, but you also did a lot of work in autism research.
Oh, well, I do autism biomedical research and have for about 25 or 6 years, something like that. And I got there kind of like Christy did, that I had a child that had issues when she was really little, even in her 2nd week. But nobody ever suggested to us, she is 28 years old, and I did not have a single person, including her developmental pediatrician, that ever suggested that we needed to look at genetics. There was nobody. And I think that probably that wouldn't happen now, because they would say, oh, well, she hasn't met her milestones, because my daughter kept losing skills every time she got immunized. And then the one thing about this, the second gene that we found is an immune modulator. It is called into action by 2 cytokines. And so that would explain why her immune system has had so many issues.
It goes back to show how just all of our work is connected. So Kyle was telling us about the family circles and talking to young parents about developmental milestones. And here you got into the work you're doing by your daughter's developmental milestones seeing regression. So it's, I hope 28 years later, you're right that that people won't hear that, but that's one of the reasons Mountain States came up with the developmental delay algorithm for this grant cycle, was to help pediatricians and help have those conversations with the family early on rather than later. So it's amazing. It's amazing how all of our work weaves together.
It does. And I mean, what happened to us is that there was a recognition that, oh, if we don't do things for this child, then she may not do well in school. And so they threw us in the lap of the school system. And then when my daughter got to be 3 years old, they said, oh, well, we don't think she's going to have any problems at school at all, and you're on your own. And I was like, ah! Because she was still very profoundly developmental delayed in her motor skill movements. And there was nobody that wanted to take us on. And so I just know that if it happened to me, it's happening to other people, and that's what, a lot of our mission is, to find and identify these other parents that need help and direction, and that, possibly there is a genetic link to it, and it could be investigated. And I mean, one of the amazing things is I think that there's certain nutrients that we probably need more of than other people. And that is what I'm trying to get these scientists to figure out for us.
Wonderful. Thanks so much for sharing, Susan.
Yeah.
I think we had a couple other people join after we got started from the call. So if anybody else is on the line, I can't see names. They're not showing up, but maybe on the phone. Has anyone else called in?
Yes, Jamie.
Oh, hey, Jamie. How are you?
Doing good. You?
Jamie from Colorado. What's new in Colorado? You're planning a pop-up too, but not till May, right?
Right, May. So,
go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah,
I didn't mean to jump right into your pop-up.
It's fine. So my name's Jamie Stefanski, and I have 2 children with a genetic disorder, but we didn't find out until they were about 11, 12 years old and about 10 years old that they had a genetic condition. We had been looking, and nothing came up, but since there's 2 siblings with kind of a history of some medical issues and autism and numerous other things going on, I kind of kept asking them to keep looking. And then when we got to Colorado,
I was going to say, your search literally went across the country to many states.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
From Maryland to Pittsburgh to, well, from Arkansas, Maryland, Pittsburgh to now Colorado.
Yeah.
And so our geneticist here in Colorado had said, instead of just rerunning the data, let's run a whole new test through a different lab. Let's redraw the blood and run it through a different lab. And that's when we came up with something. So it was just really analyzing the data, really looking at it and being more comprehensive at looking at it. And the fact that it had only been diagnosed as a condition, identified as a condition the year before in like 6 kids.
And you've harnessed the power of social media as well. Do you want to tell everybody about that?
Yes. So we, as far as up until recently, as far as these geneticists across the world are concerned, is the only kids with this condition are those 6 in that original case study article. And through the power of Facebook and the internet, one of the 7th or 8th person to be diagnosed, that mom started a Facebook group. And so there's 20-some of us, 20-some kids between the parents in this Facebook group that have been identified since the summer of 2017. So yeah, now we know of like 20-some worldwide, and there's a couple of the geneticists, like one in Europe and one in France, or one in the UK and one in France, that are interested in studying it a little bit. We have an appointment coming up with our geneticist in about a week. So I guess I'll see what he has to say, but I'm not sure he has other major projects going on. So I'm not sure we'll make the priority on that.
Maybe you can twist his arm and be a co-author on a study.
Yeah. But otherwise, so their condition is TELO2, or also called Yu-Hoover-Fong syndrome, dealing with the telomere of the gene, so the part that helps the gene from unraveling. But I'm also a PT and neuromovement practitioner, and I'm on the special ed advisory committee for the school district and a few other groups. And so I try to spread the word about the availability of genetic testing. And since we got diagnosed through retesting and re-looking at it years later, I kind of advocate for that for families, because they're like, oh, we did like the SNP array when they were little. And I said, well, you could really re-look at it now that they're in their teens, because it's so much more information out there.
Mm-hmm.
So I provide information to my clients and the different groups and communities that I'm in. And I'm also holding a genetics pop-up as part of a film showing and resource fair that I'm hosting at our church at the beginning of May. And yeah, I don't know, Christy, you know me. I have a hard time coming up with.
Her kids love to ski, and she knows all about adaptive sports. She's like your adaptive sport guru, right? Right, Jamie?
Yeah. Yeah, if there's an activity or adaptive sport or whatever, because my kids love to be outdoors and engaged, and so through, I guess, Christy's help and really delving into a more alternative community, I found some great resources and things to help my kids along. Whereas looking at the rest of the population of the kids, I mean, it's only 20-some kids, but 20-some people is 20-some people. A life is a life, and so they are not on the same path as my kids, so they are not doing as well. So my kids, I mean, they do have some things going on, but I mean, they're very active, they're very mobile, they read, and the kids that these other kids are very, very involved in wheelchairs and significant cognitive issues and health issues, and they're on feeding tubes and in the hospital all the time. And so the picture is very different for us compared to the rest of the kids with this diagnosis.
I was going to say, it's just a good reminder for all of us that it's not all genetics. We have our environment to consider too in all of this whole equation. Right? So yeah.
Yes.
And just because everybody shares a gene doesn't mean it looks the same in every person. So.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you for being on. I think there's 2 other people on, but I can't tell if those are just people that dialed in. Anyone else join the call?
I'm here, Christy. This is Winton.
Oh, it's Winton. Hi, Winton. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. We're
Good.
doing a little bit of networking. So introduce yourself and tell us what's going on in your neck of the woods.
Okay. So my name is Winton Wood, and I am in New Mexico, primarily in Albuquerque, but we're also up north in Taos County. And I have a daughter with Down syndrome. And I also I work at University of New Mexico's Center for Development and Disability. And I do family-centered care with medical students, third-year medical students. We host them, they come to our home and meet our children, and we talk about what it looks like from the family's perspective when dealing with the medical community and having a child with disabilities. And we also host first-year pediatric residents and share our stories, the good and the bad, when dealing with the medical community. And also with the pediatric residents, we show them the developmental disability algorithm tools on the let's see, MSGN.
Just say Mountain States. It's easier. Just say Mountain States.
Mountain States website, yeah. And then also here at the Center for Development and Disability, my previous job, I worked down in the library, which is one of the largest disability-related libraries in the state of New Mexico, open to the public. I worked in the Library and Resource Center. I was an information specialist for disability-related resources. And since then, I have moved into the position of a MeVia consultant. So the MeVia is a self-directed waiver for people who are either on the developmental disabilities waiver or on the medically fragile waiver. They can choose the self-directed MeVia waiver, and I'm a consultant, meaning I help them with their budgeting, with resources, just to kind of help to guide them in the waiver. And that's about it.
Great. Thanks for being on today.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right. Maybe one other person. Is there one other person on that I haven't hasn't introduced themselves yet? Maybe not. I can't tell. There's no pictures and there's no names. I just see phone numbers. All right. Well, I think we might have gotten everybody. So I'm going to go on real quickly because we have about 8 minutes left. I just have a couple updates for you all. There's our pop-up map for 2020. I think we are sitting right now at 16, possibly 17 pop-ups. Some that have already taken place, and the bulk of them are this week. So in the next week, we're going to have 7 pop-ups in our region, which is just mind-blowing to me because we did the little pilot project last year. Susan and Jamie who were on the call were part of that, and then this year we budgeted for 8, and we wanted to have every state represented for Rare Disease Day, and we had a great response, and so we're able to do, like I said, 17 pop-ups. So coming up this week, Kenneth Allen is doing one in Sheridan on Thursday. Friday, and I don't have, I missed one. I don't have Utah's on there. I'm so sorry. Okay, there's more. So the 28th, that's Gina's too, right? Yep, yours is Friday too. So 28th is Riverton, Wyoming, and then Gina's in Salt Lake City, or near Salt Lake City, Utah. And then on the 29th, which is actually Rare Disease Day, there's going to be one happening in Tucson, Arizona. They're having one at the Children's Museum in Tucson, and they have through a partnership with NORD, they have their Rare ambassador has gotten free admission for the Children's Museum that day, which is pretty exciting. There's going to be one in Aurora, Colorado, which will be at Colorado Children's Hospital, and one in Reno, Nevada, that Mary Meeker is doing as part of Family Ties. And then next week there'll be another one in Tucson. And then Josie and Kyle, who's on the phone with us today, are doing one at a outreach clinic in Farmington next Friday. So lots of stuff going on in our region with pop-ups and Rare Disease Day. I did just put this up today on our Facebook page. If you could go and share it, we would really appreciate it, because it lists the link to where all the dates and where all the flyers are linked for the pop-ups. So because there's so many coming up in the next couple days, if you could share this in any of your groups or things, you never know where someone might see that and be able to reach out and attend one of the pop-ups. We also are doing a challenge for Rare Disease Day. We're trying to reach 900 likes by this weekend. We're 47 likes away on our Facebook page. So if you have some people in your regions or in your groups or in your sphere of influence that you can suggest might like Mountain States page, we would love that, so we can see if we can reach our goal of 900. If you're looking for information on the genetics pop-ups, it is all under the For Families tab. Gina, I will send you the link to this Gene in a Box resource kit, but that is it listed right there. All the resources that are being provided for the pop-ups are electronic and available on the website. And then these next couple slides are something we've been doing on our calls, which is to have a calendar, an ongoing rolling calendar. And that's why I was asking Adrienne some of the dates of her events and things, because I like to update it for each call. So you can see February 2020 is packed full of genetics pop-ups. And then going into March, we have a couple of pop-ups coming up, Amy and Hannah in Las Vegas. And I need to change the date on that, because Elvira, Josie, and Kyle's was moved to March 6th. But then I also have one going on for all of 2020. So if there's things that are going on in your state, your a neighboring state, or maybe nationally for the rare disease or condition that your family is impacted by, and you would like to add this. I know somebody told us about the National Down Syndrome Society. I know Miracles for mitochondrial disease, is having grand rounds in Colorado coming up in April. So different things like these, I'm happy to add it here, and it's really just to keep ongoing tabs of awareness of what's going on in our region and that might be of interest to our genetic ambassadors. So I post these slides every month on the website, so this is always available if you want to reference back and look at this calendar for any reason. You can always find information on the website, and everything is really under the For Families tab that we talk about here. So there's a genetic ambassador on the drop down, and that's where all these videos are posted and slides. And then we have our Facebook Live, Your Genetics Questions Answered. It's a great place to direct families if they have questions about genetics, because we've been doing those almost every month, every other month. And then the genetics pop-up information is there as well. All right, so mark your calendar for March 26th. This is going to be our next genetic ambassador call. I have Beth Wazorski from National Family Voices joining us. Beth has just launched with some of her colleagues a family engagement assessment tool. And so she's going to talk with us about family engagement and how you can assess family engagement at a systems level. So this is a great, this is gonna be a great talk. She's gonna give us about a 20-minute presentation. We're gonna use some real life examples, but I wanted everybody on the call to be aware of this new tool because we're likely all gonna be in situations, I know we're already all in situations where we're engaging other families in our programs, and being able to assess that is really important. So that's coming up in March, again, March 26th, same time as today's call. And then if you have not joined the Genetic Ambassador Facebook group and would like to, that's where I post more frequent updates like, hey, can anybody share this? Hey, I just found out about the scholarship. Things that happen in between our calls. So I can put Gina's information about the training coming up, and anybody else that has links, feel free to post them in there. It's a great way for people to connect to. So if you're on Facebook and you would like to be added to that group, just send me an email and I can add you. I can send you an invite. It is a closed group. It's actually a secret group, so it's not available. People can't just read what is posted in there unless you're part of the group. So that is available to everyone. And then last but not least, there's my contact information. If anyone needs to get a hold of me, you can get me by email or cell phone. Yep, Susan's got a question. Go ahead. Oh,
there we go.
There you are.
I didn't remember if I told people that I also started an EDS group, because there were so many people on our myoadenylate deaminase group and also the oxalate group that I have.
Yeah.
And so it has about 100 members already. And anyway, if anybody's interested in that, just contact me.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. And with that, I'm going to wrap up the call. If anybody has any questions at all for me, feel free to reach out to me. If you have ideas for other speakers that you'd like to hear or other things you'd like to talk about on these calls, I try to make these calls meet the needs of our genetic ambassadors. So always looking for ideas. But thank you everyone for joining us today, and happy Rare Disease Day. All right, talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye. Take care.
Bye.